relentless mindset. Gonna talk about the relentless mindset. Gonna talk about I've been trying to find my head voice. We talked about that last time when I screamed in your ear trying to sing Frozen 2. You remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
So high.
I'm trying. Well, I was listening to this guy on YouTube, and he was talking about like, so you have your chest voice, which is like,
Oh, there it is.
ha, and then you have your falsetto, which is like, woo, and then there's a head voice in the middle, and that's like, ha. There's like more meat to it, but you have a similar range to your falsetto. So it's like, ah. It's hard. It's really hard to find it.
I don't know what that is.
We're live, by the way. Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on, you beautiful people? Welcome back to the Two Coaches Podcast. This podcast is all about you. It's all about you and your fitness journey. We specialize in all things fitness. My name is Rob. I am the owner and CEO of Transcend Fitness. This is Coach Michael right over here. Boom. He is the COO and head coach of Transcend Fitness. And we talk about things that will help people with their fitness journey when they're just starting out or when they're about a year in. People that are kind of hitting that first plateau, that type of thing. And today we're talking about the relentless mindset, which is something that we've actually been grappling with fairly recently. So yeah, let's get into it. Let's jump right into it. Hit that intro, Coach Michael. Yeah, boom.
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking about it while I was in the bathroom.
Oh,
That's where I do a lot of my thinking nowadays.
that's where I meditate.
It's also where I get just a little bit of alone time now that I have kids and now that Sadie's walking around and everything. But she still comes to the door. She's like, ah,
Hiding in the bathroom, huh?
she's like trying to reach under the door.
They know the difference.
Little alien. Yeah, they know, man.
They can sense. They can sense when you're going and when you're sitting.
Yeah. Sometimes I've noticed that it takes a lot longer for me to get the business done.
Oh my God.
Anyway, so I was thinking about
You're
it.
gross.
I was thinking about it, and I was like,
Fiber would probably be the best.
it's not a dietary issue.
Oh, okay.
It's a me being in there longer than necessary issue. Well, I was thinking about, I was like, is there anybody that I know that I would consider to be like relentless, like truly have a relentless mindset? And I do. Like for me, it's my dad. Like my dad is a relentless human being, for better or worse, right? Like that dude, I don't think this is obviously an exaggeration, because I'm sure there's got to be somewhere in there where this is not true. But to my knowledge, that dude has not missed a workout in like 20 years. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he is just this machine of a human being. And I think back and I remember, I'm like, why? I wonder why he is like that. And if you were to ask him, I know that a lot of it is because he truly enjoys it. Like he truly enjoys working out.
I was just gonna say, I was like, he loves it.
Yeah. He's all about that life.
Yeah.
But you look at people like that and you see how it translates into other things. And it's nothing. What the thing that I've noticed watching my dad is that it's nothing fancy. There's no magic solution to it. He just does good things. He does the best good thing that he has in his fingertips every single day.
Yeah.
And that is why, in my mind, he is relentless.
Yeah.
Because he does the little things every single day. And that's how I now define relentless. Are you disciplined enough? And the definition of discipline is doing the boring crap every day without fail. And I don't know, it seems mystical, but it's not. How do you tap into that? How do you do the boring crap every single day? That's the question.
I think it's important to I think what we've been doing lately has been condensing it down.
Explain that. What do you mean?
If you're able to dig beneath the surface just a little bit, beneath the surface of yourself, and put aside maybe your specifics just for a moment, your specific schedule, the lifestyle that you live thus far, how many kids you have, whatever the case may be, your situation.
Okay.
If you can dig a little bit deeper than that and go inside and think like, all right, what am I about? What, all the cheesy, like if I were to die tomorrow, what if I, so, and the only reason,
valid question.
The only reason I say that is because in order to see somebody like your dad and individuals like that who have a good, really good standard disciplinary skill, like it's been practiced, it's been done, some of it's come naturally, whatever. Either way, they have, that's what you're when you see it for the most part, because you can put some flair into social media and such. I feel like, because I know some people I've seen on Instagram and I'm like, you're a liar.
That is not true.
Every now and then I'm feeling real good about something and then I post it and it's usually like, I made eggplant parmesan. But anyways, like when you see that, that's what you're looking at. You're looking at their discipline, you're looking at their lifestyle choices, and it's been practiced over years. So if you're digging beneath the surface a little bit, you have to put some emotion behind it and put that big question into it without letting it be this big, overwhelming, dramatic thing. Just like, what am I about? How long? Okay, my life is this long. I don't know. It could all the feel goods, and then put together some things that are going to help you get closer to what you're really about. So like, if you're like, I'm a good person and I want to help and I want to do these things. I think for a while there, I still struggle with it. But before we started, what I was saying, condensing it down, I think for a while there, for many years, I was using my ability to be imaginative and positive and like
energetic,
real energetic, to mask the necessity for me to funnel out some of the nonsense that I was doing, like kicking butt, loving life, exercising, eating great foods, not all the time, skipping meals a little too much, not sleeping.
Oh, I think I see what you're getting at.
I was like, but I'm looking fit. Overall, I feel okay. I'm doing good. But in my list of things that I do, I wasn't condensing it down. I was just like, I want to do all the things.
Right.
I want to stay up with you and hang out and have a good life and time and stuff. I got to work in the morning at 5, but I'll be okay. And then you're like, all of it's you can get lost in it real easy, I think.
Yeah. Well,
you got to look beneath the surface and funnel it down and put forth. Otherwise, it's nonsense. And there's no way that you're ever going to get good steps or even start to get good steps of building blocks of eventually pillars of your life.
Hell yeah. And like when you think about what is relentless, right? If you go with that idea that being relentless is doing the boring shit every single day, no matter what, then you have to accept that there's a reason you're not doing it already, right? If it was easy to do, if it was that simple and that easy to accomplish, everyone would be doing it. So, okay, so there you go. You assume that it's not a simple task, even though it's doing the little things every single day. Pulling that off is not easy. So if you accept that, then what you have to do is also accept that, well, let's make one other assumption, and that is that you can get better at it, right? Let's say discipline, being relentless is a learnable and practicable skill that you can improve over time, right?
Like a muscle.
Yeah, exactly. So if those two things are true, it's not simple, but you can get better at it. Then what you have to do then is find where you currently are. What are you currently doing every single day that is useful and good, going to work, providing for your family, that type of shit.
Yeah.
Find those things that you're currently doing really, really relentlessly, and then see what you can stack just on top of that, just a little bit, and use a little and try to become relentless at just those things.
Yeah.
Then once that becomes second nature, then you stack on something else. And a lot of people come to us. Well, let me back up. If you do that for a long enough period of time, and you are consistently, progressively overloading your own habits and your own mind, and getting stronger as a result, then in 5 years, you're going to be a completely different person.
Yeah.
You're going to be a totally different animal. And I think back to my dad. I'm looking at him now after 20 years of development. After 12, I mean, longer than that. My dad's not 20.
Neither are you.
Neither am I. No, time machine. But it's that's what it is. People get caught in that trap. I get caught in that trap. You look at somebody who is on level 10 of their life,
Yeah.
and they're kicking all this ass, and you're like, okay, well, what is that person doing? And you're like, well, okay, so that person is eating this way, working out this much, and doing these lifestyle choices. That's what I got to do. And I got to do all of them right now, package full bundle deal. And so they go in there and they try to do it wholesale and they wreck themselves.
Yeah.
They completely overshoot it. They burn out all the willpower that they have, and then they're discouraged and they don't want to continue. And they're like, well, this is impossible. Well, of course it's impossible. You tried to do what somebody at their level 10 is doing, and you're at level 1.
Yeah.
So instead, if you really want to become relentless, you first have to, and have that relentless mindset, you have to figure out what level you're on, figure out and recognize why that's good. And then based on where you're at, decide what is the next best good thing that you can do.
Yeah.
And you attack that. Maybe that's something as simple as going to bed on time, or something as drinking an extra bottle of water a day, or going to the gym in the mornings, that type of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe that is just the next best thing that you have access to. And then you run with that until it's second nature. Once that is locked in, you can build because you have a foundation now. Yeah. I think that is a good way to look at it. That's pretty fucking cool.
You were like,
dude, well, because it's like what it's such when you're talking about something as nebulous as mindset, you're like, well, how do you teach someone to be mindful? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They in order to teach somebody, they have to be open to the lesson. They have to be open to they already have to have a sense of mindfulness. So how do you teach that? People, and a lot of the times that when we're working with people come in and they're blocked. And they're blocked by these preconceived notions, these ideas that they have already of what they need to do or what they should be doing. And a lot of our job, a lot of our time is spent getting around that assumption and getting people to say, like, look, okay, yes, all you did this week was drink an extra bottle of water a day. Yes, that's all you accomplished. But look at what you accomplished.
yeah.
That's amazing. That is a step forward into a lifestyle that's going to get you where you ultimately want to go. And that is a win. And that might be all you're capable of right now.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
You got to learn to give yourself credit.
Yes.
Give yourself credit for, or, don't, it's like that thing we listened to the other day, the Baz Luhrmann wear sunscreen thing.
Ah, yes.
If you haven't listened to that, it's a good reminder. It's a good little, it's a speech. Some of you may have heard it by Baz Luhrmann, I believe is how you pronounce it. But
is he still alive, by the way?
No. Maybe I just misspoke. Maybe he is still alive, but I don't think so.
Oh.
Somebody's like, who like knows Baz Luhrmann. How dare you?
Any big Baz Luhrmann fans
He's
out there?
still alive.
Sorry.
But it's a great speech. And like he says, don't compliment yourself too much and don't berate yourself either. Your choices are half chance. So are everybody else's. So when we're talking about, we're trying our best lately to stay in our lane in the health and fitness realm and really, really help the people that we're in contact with, that we're in social distancely contact with.
Due to COVID restrictions.
You were like, but the people that we interact with on a regular basis, how can we actually use our program and our knowledge and the things that we've experienced to help influence each other in a way that's going to help us all progress together. And with that, it takes a little bit of nostalgia. It takes a little bit of feel good. It takes a little bit of feel bad. It takes a good, healthy balance. and realizing that all the stuff if this is you, some people are leaps and bounds, like you said, level 10. Some people are at level 10 and they don't even realize it because they go to bed at this time and they wake up at this time.
Right.
And their kids are all on this schedule, and this person drives themselves, and like everything is just killing it, but they're not eating enough regularly. So like just so simple,
Right.
if you will. But in their specific situation, that's the exact same, not comparably, that's the exact freaking mental hurdle as having no routine, 4 kids, blah, 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 blah. And I work out every single day. You can squat 300 pounds, whatever the case may be. All the variables are going to be different. But being able to help each other requires you to dig a little deeper, realize that it's going to take you just doing better overall, and then funneling that down to, okay, I can do this onto my schedule. I can do my schedule this way, and that will benefit in these ways. And it's not me 180ing. I'm not turning everybody's lives upside down, but it's already here.
Right.
I just need to restructure it. Boom. Okay. Yes. Now I have all this time, or now I have enough time to do this, or now I'm going to be able to, whatever the case, go to sleep longer, whatever the case may be. But it takes funneling it down, because I think what I've been guilty of before in the past is not sifting through the details and doing too much, and being, hanging out with the family and enjoying, quote unquote, enjoying life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not doing the rest of the stuff that I really want, not really enjoying my body and like being able to take advantage of these things that I have in this life that I'm trying to pretend is like, I got to look at it and be real deep with myself. And sometimes you just can't check into that. Sometimes everything's influenced you so much that your mind it's on this track right now.
Right.
And you might have to kind of jump off a little bit. You might have to kind of derail some things and get a little uncomfortable. But if you start this diet that so-and-so's doing because they look so incredible or whatever, like you might stop that one day. You might not do that forever.
Yeah.
And you got to pay attention to stuff like that. I love challenges. I wouldn't call a challenge like a fad.
Sure.
I wouldn't call a challenge a fad. I would call it a little intense when it comes to lifestyle changes, because it requires you to it's forcibly making you uncomfortable.
Right. Oh yeah. And I think everybody should be uncomfortable. This is a personal philosophy. I think people should have discomfort in their life, because that's how people grow.
Yeah.
We are, in a lot of ways, beasts of burden, right? We have to be striving for something. We got to be trying to conquer something, or challenging ourselves with something that is bigger than who we currently are. If you're doing that, then you have that gives you purpose and meaning and all that shit, which is really, really good. But when you're talking about being relentless, it really does get down to those those really simple daily tasks that add up to something really, really great if you do it for a long enough amount of time. So curb your expectations.
They compound,
folks. Yeah, get out there and look at what is the best small thing you can do now, currently, without uprooting your entire life and flipping your family on its head. What is the simplest thing that you can do right now today that would move you in that direction, move you into the direction of your goals? Also, if you don't have a goal, you should have one. If you don't have a vision for yourself and what you want your life to look like, and for fitness, what you want your body to be able to look like and do, then you should spend some time. You owe it to yourself to think about those things and write it down. Have that picture in your head, and then the goals that correspond to it. That way, when you start deciding what are these little tweaks I can make, you can evaluate them against something that truly is meaningful to you as an individual. So you have that target, and then you see if what you're doing is moving you towards it. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing that you gotta kind of understand and realize when you're thinking about being relentless is the amount of effort and energy that it takes. If a lot of times we have people that come to us and they know what to do. There's nothing there's certain things that we could teach them, sure, but on the whole, they got the basics down. They know they need to work out every day. They enjoy working out every day. They know they need to eat better. It's not a matter of knowledge, and it's not a matter of willpower or discipline, but they come to us and they are struggling because they don't have any gas in the tank. They don't have any energy to put towards these things, to put towards these
the application
goals.
of the process.
Right, exactly. And so here's we are organic beings, and there's certain rules that we got to follow. I call them non-negotiables. I was talking about this with my mom the other day, and I was like, there's certain non-negotiables in fitness, and she was like, what is a non-negotiable? And I was like, it's you can't negotiate with it. It's true through and through. You're locked in by your own biology, and one of those big ones is sleep. You have to have enough sleep. If you don't have enough sleep, your body doesn't give a damn about any of the other things that you're trying to get it to do. And we've talked about this a lot before, right? You got to get enough sleep, blah, blah, blah. 7 hours minimum, 8 hours great, if not more. But really, when you are looking at staying relentless, staying in that relentless mindset, you could be the strongest, most mentally tough person on the planet, and you will fall to pieces if your body is tired enough. So if your mind is tired enough. So when you're trying to look at those little good things that you can tweak, one of the biggest bang for your bucks, like I don't know what to call it, like a value habit. One of the biggest changes that you'll get for the most minimal amount of effort is increasing your sleep. And let's say
your return on your investment.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to put it. So let's say right now you have a lot of responsibilities. You're already as optimized as you feel you can be, right? You got a bunch of kids. They are doing a bunch of things that you have to get them to. You're working, you're providing for your family, and you don't got a lot of time left to give to your own sleep. And you're getting like 5 hours a night, something like that. I feel like a lot of people are in that boat.
Yeah.
So, okay, you can't do the best thing for you. So you can't get to the ideal thing for you. So what is the next best thing that you can get to? If you're getting 5 hours, then you're 2 hours behind on your sleep. Is there a way that you can, and that's impossible. You can't get to 2 hours. Is there a way that you can get to 30 minutes more? Could you go to bed 15 minutes sooner and wake up 15 minutes later? Can you? Because if you can, then why aren't you? Because even if it's not the ideal, it is the next best thing that you have just directly at your fingertips. So start there. Allow yourself to get good at that, and just see if it makes a difference for you. It might not.
Yeah.
You might be so far behind on your sleep that 15, 20 minutes here, or an extra 30 minutes net gain isn't going to make a big difference for you. Or it could. It might make all the difference in the world. But seriously, take a look at that. And also, because it is a non-negotiable, like if you were to uproot your entire routine for anything, I would say getting enough sleep would be a good reason to do that.
Yeah.
And I got to be careful when I say that, because a lot of people have a lot of priorities that are also, to them, non-negotiables. Their kids' development is a non-negotiable, and they've decided that this is what their kids need, and so it's that is off the table.
What you're talking about a non-negotiable for the optimization of your health.
Correct.
And
bound by biology,
with the exception of very individualistic circumstances.
Yeah.
Majority of the population, you need to get sleep, you need to move, you need to eat,
you drink,
you need to drink water. And
love,
and you need to be loved.
That's actually pretty serious, but yeah.
There's too much. There's the devil's in the details. There's too much. There's too much going on around us in our own lives for us to not put some thought into what we need to be doing on the regular.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're talking about sleep in particular, but overall, right? Just I think what happens is we were talking earlier about following that one plan, whether it's because you saw somebody else do it or not. Like maybe you think about it and you're like, nobody tells me what to do, but somehow you're still on and off of a diet plan,
Right.
on and off, up and down in body fat percentage. You feel real good some summers, you don't feel real good some summers. Like you're just kind of in this, you know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's because one of my big things, I realized like I always told people I didn't give a crap about fitness competitions, but actually thinking about it, like, and realizing that that's not something that I prefer to. Maybe if my knee was really good and I didn't have such specific pains, I would love it. I'm sure I would love it because I love that competitiveness, that push for the next step, the next level, the next intense thing. And using that part of my brain and my heart almost to getting enough sleep, or trying to get enough sleep, trying to eat enough food, trying to drink enough water. For some people, it's like, you know, they're killing it, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe that's because they're a bodybuilder and they have to be on stage at certain times. Maybe that's their thing.
Or their situation's different. Maybe they have a good solid 9 to 5 with no kids and it's easy to go to bed on time.
Bottom line, when you're talking about your individual thing, you have to freaking block these external influences. Stop letting all these thoughts flood into your brain about what you think you're supposed to look like, and like spend some time. If you don't know how, for sure, it's kind of because you can get lost in your thoughts so easy.
Oh yeah.
But you have to kind of sit down and really, really funnel out, like, what are you trying to accomplish? What are some things I'd like to do with my body in the realms of health and fitness? What are some things I'd like to do with my body before I cannot, before it's gone, before it's over, all that stuff. Like, it's ups and downs, it's light and dark, it's happy, it's sad, it's easy sometimes, it's hard sometimes. Either way, we're all kind of doing the same thing.
Yeah.
And you have to just go and try before you're able to say, like, this doesn't really work for me.
And you're worth it. And you are worth taking the time.
You sounded so excited just now.
because God,
I looked over and you were like,
it's we have so many people. We have awesome members. Like, all of our members are very, very giving people. They're very caring people. We have a lot of parents that just they're great. They do great things for their families, and they're givers. And I don't ever want to knock that, because it's a noble thing. It's an amazing thing. But a lot of times that pendulum will swing too far, and they will be so giving of themselves that they don't take care of themselves the way that they could. So a lot of times what we do is just kind of, I gotta be careful when I say this.
Yeah.
Giving permission. That's probably not the best way to say that. Whatever. If you think of a better way, jump in. Okay. But giving permission to people to take care of themselves first.
I know it feels weird saying that, but what you're doing is, we're trying to show someone the options, the things available to you to make some change.
Yeah.
And giving yourself a chance to see what could be, and legitimately what could be, not like this would be ideal.
Right.
Just sitting down and being like, okay, here's some things that could go into play, that could go into action pretty quick, pretty smooth. That kind of already happen here and there. Like I do it most of the time.
Right.
You know, those things are what we're trying to show people. The bigger aspect, the bigger function of it being that you're giving yourself permission to make change for a positive, and you're putting in a perspective that is centric towards longevity.
Right.
That's like yes, it's a bigger picture, and it should be emotional and it should be important, but it's just it's centered around a bigger picture, a longevity of more than right now. So maybe right now, these things for your kids, these things for your diet, this fad you're in, whatever might be okay. But if you can stop, dig a little deeper, funnel it out, and look below that surface and see like, okay, I could get 15 minutes here a night. I could get 15 minutes in the morning, whatever. I like eating whole foods. Like I definitely could eat more, and then it's just funneled down from there, whether it gets real tight or not. Like some people have to start with this big thing, this big jumble of stuff. And it might take a while to kind of filter out some of the things because some of them are real heavy and some of them you've been holding on to for freaking ever.
Right.
Whether that be, I think about my parents too. Like, I can't remember what the conversation was, but I know my mom one time was like, do you ever like wish I would have pushed you to do like, I don't know if it was acting or music.
Oh, wow.
Like, do you ever wish I would have pushed you more to do that? I always think about that. And I thought about it. Like I could see my mother, doing life, making decisions, trying to figure stuff out, having these big thoughts about life and praying about it and just like, doing life. And also thinking like seeing something happen in front of them with their child and be like, you should do this. If I had that, this is what I would do.
Right.
And then, you kind of go back and forth and I can see the extremes of that. I can see the extremes of that in parents, in people, just people in general, not just parents coming through the door here and talking about all these things. When some of them in 2 years are not even going to be an issue, like it won't even be a thought. They'll never talk about it ever again. Like and some of these things aren't concrete, but we treat them like they are. And we run ourselves in a way that it's not benefiting us. It's barely benefiting the kids maybe, or it's barely benefiting our relationship,
right? Or
it's barely benefiting the gym or whatever the case may be, our business or whatever.
You're talking about like we get into our minds. We tell ourselves that this one thing is the end all be all. It's so important. And if you were to stop and actually have the ability to take a step back, you'd realize that, oh, you know what? Maybe this isn't as important as I was making it out to be. And maybe I'm sacrificing way too much for this thing that isn't as important as I thought it was. Is that what you're saying?
But yes, but I'm saying that it's sometimes not even that decisive. Sometimes we're doing stuff. We've got our routine or whatever. Right. We start implementing this thing into our lives, and it can take over a little bit. And it's like now it's just a hassle. It's like the same. It's the same as like going to work every day and punching in and punching out, and there is nothing about it anymore, even in the slightest. Like you can't even look at it as a means to an end anymore. You're just like this is my life. I'm gonna die here. It's but I mean, like we get into it and we start doing these things, and we're no longer thinking about like the longevity of our health and fitness. We're just thinking about taking care of this next task and making sure it gets done because that's my responsibility.
Yeah. And a lot of people that come to us, they're relentless about certain things already, right? Like we have people that come to us who are, very successful in their job. They go to work on time. They do what they get their job done, right? They do what they need to do. So so going back to the sleep thing, I don't mean to keep harping on sleep, but it's such a pivotal thing because if you don't have any energy, then everything that you try is at the very least going to not be as good as it could.
Yeah, it's affected.
Everything that you do is affected by how much energy you have. So if you're not getting enough sleep, and it's not just me, there's studies that back this shit up. If you're not getting enough sleep, then you are going to suffer in all these other areas of your life. At the very least, they're going to be diminished. So what I like to think about is perspective and priority. If let's say, oh, I can't get to bed on time. The kids have this thing until 9:30. Let's say that, I don't know, pick a hypothetical. Let's say you got a job that was going to pay you $10 million a year, right? And in order to do this job, you had to be at work at 5 a.m. every single day. And you had to be at your best. So your boss wanted you, I don't know, this is kind of a controlling boss, but you had to be in bed by
I was just gonna say
by
that.
9:30.
But also, your
Yeah.
boss said,
Yeah, you had to be in bed by 9:30 or
just
whatever
thinking.
whatever the circumstances are, right? If your health depended on it or your life depended on it.
No, but for the hypothetical, $10 million, you got to go to bed so that you can be there at 5, and you got to go to sleep. Otherwise, you don't get the $10 million.
Yeah, let's put a number on it. Would you
That's a ridiculous hypothetical.
would you turn your life around for that? Would you switch your schedule? Would you go to your sister and say, "Hey, you're their aunt. Can you take them to their volleyball game practice or whatever from this time to this time, so that I can go to bed on time and be at my best?" If those stakes were on the line, would you be able to make the change? And the answer is almost 100% of the time, hell yeah. Absolutely. For $10 million, I will make arrangements to get my kids where they need to go while also taking care of what I need to take care of. The problem is not that it's an impossible thing to manage. The problem is that we are willing to sacrifice what is best for us because it's not valued enough. We don't value ourselves enough. And so we're willing to make those sacrifices when maybe we shouldn't. Very rarely do I find people that are truly stuck, where they're they truly are out of options. Like if their kid doesn't go to this basketball tournament, they're not going to get into college.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Where the stakes are truly that high.
That's what I mean. Like I think sometimes some of these things just become such a integral part. They get threaded into the fabric, man.
Yeah.
And they are important. Like I've talked about it before with like my family, but I think talking about it right now, I'm realizing like when I was playing football in high school, once I realized that we probably weren't going to come back from our last game, like I was like, we're going to lose. Once I realized that, and I was waiting for like that whelp of that emotional, like it's over, I almost felt kind of relieved.
Interesting.
And it's not because I do not regret playing. I mean, obviously my knee sucks now. That was from soccer anyway. But football didn't help.
Sure.
But like I still remember it feeling so relieving that I didn't have to play another game of football.
Yeah.
I loved the practices, that work, the power outputs,
sure,
the jumping and getting dirty and like all that stuff. So fun. Throwing up on the sidelines, just like, get back over here. And you're back. Pop that pinky back into place. Like all that stuff was cool and fun. But the seriousness, once it came to the end, once it came to the end of it, for most of us, some people still kept playing. They made it to college and they kept playing, and it's beautiful to watch. Like that feeling that I had, I can blow that up into 20 years down the road, and your family, here's your situation, all these things. Like you're just waiting, and it's just like eventually you stop, and then you're like, oh, okay, like now, and then I got real fat. Got to college and was like, who cares? Which is funny because then later on, like later, I finally got disciplined. I was like, let me get more disciplined.
Yeah.
But such is life, Nah. But what I'm getting at is that some of these things I think become so concrete in people's minds, and it's hard to which is not what we're doing. I realize that's not what we're doing here. But I think I have before just told people like, just do this, just try this.
Sure.
You got to do that. Make sure you do this.
Here's your answer.
Yeah. But there's no, I think when we're talking about this becoming relentless, this relentless mindset, it's not a definite thing.
Yeah.
You can't look at it and see this clear picture. You can look at it and see what it generally is, and then it might be a little fuzzy around it.
Yeah.
Like it might not be fully focused in. And I think from what I gather and the things I've read and what I feel about the whole process, like it's always going to be a little fuzzy. Sometimes it's like, boom, it clears itself up, and you should take it.
Yeah.
Take it, man. That's how you see people doing whatever it is that they're doing online, and they're amazing to you. You're like, man, how do they want, they had this thing and they ran, and it might change, who knows 10 years from now what that person might be doing.
Right.
But that's what it's all about. Finding this relentless mindset is finding things that help drive you and move forward in the circumstance that you have, whether that be family or jobs or 2 jobs or whatever.
Yeah.
And figuring out that health and fitness is a good tool for you to improve upon this thing that you have. And I know we're talking to a very specific group because there's all these variables that you can implement, man. Like,
oh yeah, well,
the actual circumstances being way heavier than that. Like,
yeah,
like you have like a gym, going to a maybe listening to a podcast is like that's, you're like, how am I supposed to listen to a podcast? I don't even have any kind of electronics to listen to it on. Like, you can get real specific. So like, if you're not here in this thread listening to these things, it's going to be hard. But that's what I feel when I think about what we're doing.
Yeah.
This should be bred into the lifestyle. So when you're having that random conversation at HEB or whatever, it's like positive and it feels good. Not because you're like trying to feel good, but like it's genuine. You're choosing daily to make some choices to just do better. And it's not always going to be great. You and I were talking about how like happiness is that's a pretty crappy goal,
right,
to obtain. And I get it. It makes sense to me. Because life is hard.
Yeah.
Because life is hard. And that can get real deep.
You feel great when you're happy. You feel crappy when you're sad. So my goal is happiness. But that's short-sighted.
Yeah, jumping on these fad diets and getting some 6-month results in and feeling real good is great. It's great for the brain. It does certain things for you.
Sure.
But it can definitely it's fleeting. It can stunt you. There's a lot more negatives that can go into you not building a more disciplined routine for yourself.
Right. And it's like, man, when you are looking at what you can do, this is why it's a good idea to have a coach or somebody, either it's a life coach or if you're in the fitness world, a fitness coach, that you can actually not just work out with, but bounce ideas off of. Because a lot of times we do get trapped in that mindset of like, oh no, this is the most important thing. I am stuck because of how precious these other priorities are, and they might be extremely important. I don't mean to take away from any of that, but we allow ourselves to believe that this is the way that I am now is the only way to do things, and that's very rarely true, right? People always say like, oh, I don't have time. I don't have time to make that happen. It's like, dude, you just watched all of The Mandalorian in like a week.
Mm-hmm.
You absolutely can squeeze stuff in. Obviously.
Yeah.
So it's not always as hopeless as it may seem. The problem is that people build up what it takes to be successful, what it takes to be at whatever goal they've chosen for themselves. Again, if you don't have a goal for yourself, you need one. You absolutely deserve and owe it to yourself to think about what it is that you want from your body and from your life. So do that first. But yeah, once you have that, they say, oh, in order to get that goal, I have to have all these other things implemented. And so that's too much. I'm just not going to do it. They throw it by the wayside. Nobody has it all together. Nobody has it down. Certainly they don't have it down all of the time. Just do your very best. Find what is the next best thing that I can do for myself in order to get to my goal. And then you just start. Don't worry if it's perfect or not. Just start. If you're getting 4 hours of sleep a night right now, I guarantee you're not living your best life. So start trying to get 15 extra minutes when you before you go to bed and 15 extra minutes in the morning before you wake up for a net of 30. Do your best. If it's 20, freaking 10 minutes, go to bed. Do your best. And at least then you're moving in the right direction. And you'll find that this stuff will start to snowball. You'll start to get better at other things because of it. But it's not going to happen all at once. Being relentless is about doing the little things repeatedly. Yeah. So take on the thing that you can do repeatedly now and work on that. And through the act of doing that, through the act of daily attacking your goals and attacking your plan, you will find that your capacity to attack grows, and all of a sudden you're this bigger person. You're a more relentless human being than you were 2 months ago, and now you're ready to take on some of those bigger tasks. And then you attack those, and through the act of attacking those, you grow some more. And in a year's time, 5 years time, you are a giant, a mental, relentless giant. And now people are looking to you saying, oh my God, how did he or she do that? But it doesn't happen all at once.
Mm-mm.
And if you're expecting it to, then you're doing yourself a disservice. Look at what you can change today.
Overall, I think relax.
Don't do it when you want it. That's all we could play. That's all we could play on before we get copyrighted. Whenever you sing, I get super nervous because I'm like, it's too good.
Shut up.
It's too good.
I think
we're going to get copyrighted.
I think so. We were joking before. We're going to try a different setup this time. This is two coaches on couches. That's what I said.
Two couches.
This is two couches. Two couches. But we mixing things up. We want to have more valuable conversations.
Yeah.
We want to have, and it's not that the other ones aren't, but I think a lot of times we're talking and we have this topic, and we do a research. We talk about what we're going to kind of, just like, what do you mean? Okay, that sounds good. Let's do it. And that's a good way to go about it because it can be educational. But I know a lot of times myself, you do such a great job, like.
Are you talking to me right now?
I'll just talk about nonsense, dude. Sometimes I just get carried. I'm like, you know what? Let me tell you this. Star Wars.
What are we talking about?
Star Wars. I have been watching a lot of Star Wars.
You have been watching a lot of Star Wars. Yeah, man.
But so relax. Take a big deep breath. And I would say, at least for now, if any of this is resonating whatsoever with you, because I know it does with me, I can feel specific things that I'm like, just reminding myself, like, don't forget that we want to try to do this. Don't forget, pay attention to that. It can be life. It can be a lot of different things that are these small steps that you're doing. And just keep in mind that your health is one of them, that same thing, just break it down into that. You have all these little things. And if you're healthy, you can continue doing them. But as far as the health goes, you can break that down too. It doesn't need to be chaotic or confusing. You need to bring it down to adjustable, doable, completable steps.
Yeah.
They've got to start putting those building blocks together. Otherwise, you're always pattering things around. You got to stop pitter pattering.
Stop pitter pattering.
You got to start getting at it.
Yeah.
Pitter patter, get at her. Like stop messing around with it. Start getting some things put down. If you have no idea, then reach out. That's what we've been working on lately, and it's been great.
Yeah.
Just to kind of help one another and help others.
Yeah.
Just do that first couple steps. Do that first couple steps of like, this is a good thing. This is going to be good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's there's also nothing wrong with needing help. Like if you don't have anybody to talk to about this stuff, it can be really, really difficult if you're just working off of your own mind and your own perspective, and there's nobody out there that you can bounce ideas off of, or there's nobody out there that can kind of engage with you about these things. People have a hard enough time talking about themselves in general. Like in focus calls, one of the things that we do are these things called focus calls. There's little 15-minute segments, and we talk about the member. Like the first few calls with a lot of members is just getting them comfortable with talking about who they are and what they want. Just that alone, it can be difficult, let alone having somebody that you can bounce those types of ideas off of and have that type of conversation. So, but again, you owe it to yourself to find somebody to do that with, because it's so beneficial, and there's so much more that you can get out of life if you are truly actively working towards your goals that are for you and made by you. So get out there and do it. You know, and we're of course talking about fitness and health, but
Yeah,
that shit holds true for everything.
I was gonna say we're talking specifically health and fitness. Whenever we get these big, broad, general things, like obviously there's more thoughts going into them, but we want to try to keep you on that health and fitness track. Like we want to try to keep each other as well. Like it's real easy. Oh my!
I just
goodness. Come at me with that mad disrespect.
I was gonna tell you earlier, I do like having you like right in my ears. I like being able to hear you like directly in my ear. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Excuse me.
Better out than in, I always say. You animal. And I'm distracted by your burp.
Sorry.
What was I talking about?
You were talking about health and fitness and how we are talking about things.
You burped and I thought about lunch. Now I'm hungry. That's why I got lost.
My burp made you hungry?
I was like, man, I could use a burp right now.
That is next level disgusting. No, you were talking about sorry, I didn't mean to distract you. You were talking about health and fitness and how that's what our focus is, but this is very general and can apply to a lot of life.
I knew what I was talking about.
The whole time?
The whole time. Mrs. Doubtfire.
Unbelievable.
But we're talking about health and fitness specifically, and we're always going to try to keep it on that so that we can help that progress. We want that to progress. We want that to move forward. We want that to grow. We want that to be a good, positive pillar in this whole scheme, in this whole life scheme. But stop focusing on everything else. Like stop focusing on that's one of my big things. And I'm not even on social media that much. Like I feel bad because I miss people's, like I said, I miss people's birthdays all the time, and it's right there. It comes across the phone like bloop, 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 bloop. And I just messaged my sister-in-law. I was like, happy birthday 3 days ago. But either way,
sorry, sister-in-law.
But with that, like it's not a big deal. Like I want her to have a happy birthday. I missed the day.
Yeah.
It happens. But stop worrying about everything else so much, because I think a lot of times when we're trying to think about work-life balance, fitness, like trying to balance all these things, when I am saying balance, don't compare it to me. Don't compare it to Coach Rob. Don't compare it to the Instagram so-and-so. Like it's your thing. And the sooner you stop doing that and realize like, okay, this is just me. This is just my thing. What am I about? What am I going to do? And you can use external influences. Like that's not the thing. It's not a big deal. Use all the programs and workout regimens you've done and diets you've done to figure something out that's going to work for you for forever and ever and ever.
Right.
And that's just going to be this big building process over the next however many years you're willing to commit to focusing on it.
Right.
And if you're always focused on somebody else's stuff, right? Like I can think of at least 5 people right now in my life, a few of them in my, like just my circle, like the people that I know that are relentless in the sense that they can have this full-time thing, have kids, do stuff, have fun, you know, whatever that may be.
How do they do it?
And they're fine. They're still somehow getting 6, 7 hours, 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
That's, if you can do all of these things and run at a capacity that's so disciplined and focused that there's no time for you to get off of it. Yeah. That's fine. That's okay.
But you know what, to talk about those,
that's not for you to try to emulate. It's for you to to see, notice, like, yeah, that's legit. I like these things about it. How could that work in my life? How could I put this into my situation? What could I do? What's my thing?
Well, because I mean, to your point, there are people that exist out there that are doing that, where they're just like crushing it. Their life is optimized. It's well balanced. I guarantee you that was not an accident. Yeah. I guarantee you, in order, like when you're looking at somebody who's operating at that level, where you're like, holy shit, how are they doing it? Those people sat down and wrote it out and worked it out. They took the time to figure out a way to make all these pieces fit. And a lot of us, I am 100% in this category, are kind of flying by the seat of our pants. We're just taking on things that we know are important and just kind of making it happen. without ever really sitting down and looking at how they can fit together. And is this really going to move me towards where I want to be?
Yeah.
And if you haven't done that, my wife and I, Elizabeth and I, are in the process of trying to enact some of the or to enact put in place some of those things where we meet every week and we talk about those things, talk about what we want out of the week coming up. But it is difficult. But again, it's not about making it perfect. It's about finding the best thing that you can do today, right now, and attacking it and doing so until it becomes second nature. So that way you can grow. By the way, we're at an hour now.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, we should wrap it up.
Yeah, the relentless mindset is not something. I mean, it's barely a thing that we've actually even developed. Like, we've got the steps, we've got the processes, and we've got some good stuff put together that's going to help us get the thing started. And then it's going to take the individual putting in the pieces and figuring out what's going to work for you, and us feeding off and bouncing ideas. And that's going to be for everything in life. If you can do that, I think if you can do that and you're going to falter, you're going to get into some other stuff. You're going to forget, just don't let it be 6 years down the road. You're like, I used to be so fit, or I used to go for a walk every day. Some people's are more intense.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's weight gain involved. Sometimes there's a lot of different variables, but it's worth it to pay attention and try to get some help and build a better process.
Oh my God. That's a great way to put it. It is worth it to pay attention. That is for damn true.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, hey, thanks so much for tuning into the Two Coaches podcast. I'm Coach Rob.
And I'm Coach Michael.
This is Coach Michael. We record every Thursday at around noon.
Noonish.
Again, trying to be relentless, trying to get on that schedule.
Before the 4 p.m. class.
Yeah, sometime before 4 p.m. But we do go live. If you ever want to hang out with us and join us, you can hop on, ask us some questions in the chat. We're going to be implementing that soon. So yeah, take a look. If you're new to us, like, comment, subscribe, all that bad stuff, and turn on that notification bell so that you know when we are streaming next. We'll see you next time, guys. Stay relentless. What'd you think of that outro?
Was pretty good.
Thanks, man. I have to pee again.